This time on Talking Vehicles with Joe, a Toyota Avalon, a Ford Explorer, and some Cadillacs. Talking Vehicles with Joe is a series that I've been doing where I talk about cars and things in general. And I've been doing a series of videos talking about some of the cars I've owned, some of my experiences with them, and just kind of telling you some fun events maybe that happened with the cars. I last left off with my 2001 Toyota Avalon, which I liked very, very much. Now, on my job, I'd had a company vehicle. I had a 2001 Ford Explorer, and it was a very good company car. I enjoyed it very much, but my company decided they weren't going to do company cars anymore. They were going to change our compensation, give us an allowance, and we needed to get another vehicle. So I bought a 2002 Mercury Sable LS Platinum. It was a really nice car, fully loaded, leather interior, sunroof, mock audio system, terrific audio system, and it had the 24-valve V6, which was the 200 horsepower V6. Shortly after I bought that car, I changed jobs, and the new company didn't provide me a company car, so it became my business use car, and was a really good car. Nothing really special to tell you about that car, except it was a very nice car. And I really enjoyed driving it when I had it. The mileage got up on it. It got up to about 90,000 miles. And so I decided to get rid of that car, and I bought a 2005 Ford Explorer XLT. It was a 4-liter V6. It had some miles on it. It had been previously owned. It had about 11 or 12,000 miles on it, I believe, when I bought it. And it wasn't a 3-row Explorer, so I got a really screaming good deal on it. And drove that vehicle for about 6 months. And gasoline prices were climbing at that point, and the fuel mileage on that vehicle wasn't really that great. And I decided I was getting killed in fuel, and I needed to get rid of it. So what I decided to do was, my wife was driving the 2001 Avalon. I decided to take that to be my company car, and we would buy another new car. Since the Avalon she had been driving was such a good car, I went and bought another one, a 2005, and gave her that one while I drove the 2001. The 2005 was very uncharacteristically troublesome, which is very uncharacteristic for Toyota. The engine leaked. It was a 3.5 V6. The engine leaked. I'd always have puddles of oil on the garage floor. The windshield was started to delaminate. You know, windshields are layers of glass, 2 layers of glass with a thin film in between that, so they won't shatter if something hits it. Mine began to delaminate and actually become kind of cloudy in spots. The windshield was replaced, and it chronically leaked. They could not get it to stop leaking for the longest time. I had wound up with 2 or 3 windshields in that car before they finally got it not to leak. They never really cured the oil leak in the car until they actually completely pulled the engine and resealed it top to bottom. And there were some other problems with that car. Now, it was a real, again, Lexus-like in terms of ride quality, quiet, engine performance, 263 horsepower V6. So it scooted pretty well. And it was a shame because it was really a very nice car, but the quality on it wasn't very good. I decided that I didn't want to keep the car because I was, not happy with the quality, and I'd had enough quality problems with cars, and was ready to really at the point where I wanted to get a Cadillac. Now, my obsession with Cadillac, and I think I explained this in an earlier video, but I'll review, goes back to when I was very young, and my dad owned a Cadillac. My dad had a 1956 Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special, biggest Cadillac you could buy. He didn't buy it brand new, but it was only less than 2 years old when he bought it. And this car was loaded. It had everything, including air conditioning. I mean, if you had a Cadillac Fleetwood 60 Special with air conditioning back in the 50s, you were the Mac Daddy. I mean, you had the ride. And my dad always admired Cadillacs for what they represented. They were like kind of like the pinnacle of success. And he admired the people that owned Cadillacs because, they'd achieved the ability to own a Cadillac. They were at a very high level of success in their life. So I always viewed Cadillacs as a symbol of, hey, I've done it. I've achieved something. I've made it. And so I decided I wanted to get a Cadillac. Well, I found a Cadillac in Akron, Ohio. It was a Cadillac CTS that a dealer had in Akron, Ohio. It was all-wheel drive. It had the 3.6 direct port injection V6, which was a 304 horsepower engine. So I took the 2005 Avalon up to them and traded it in. Now, they knew what the Avalon was. They had seen, by then Carfax was around. They'd seen the service records and all. So I wasn't hiding anything from them. And they gave me what I thought was a not bad trade-in for the Avalon. I was ready to get rid of that. And I bought that Cadillac CTS. And I loved that car. Absolutely loved it. Loved the horsepower, loved the performance. The ride wasn't as smooth or soft as the Avalon, but it wasn't harsh or annoyingly firm. And the car was a joy to drive, man. I mean, it handled great for the era. It was really a very good car. It had a nice sound system, and it had Bose sound in it, CD player. So. And satellite radio. So really, really liked that car. And my wife drove it for a couple of years. And the one thing she didn't like is she's not real tall. She's kind of short. And she was not happy with the visibility out of the car. So after about 2 years, there was time for me to replace. I'd taken a 2001 Avalon as my company car. And the mileage was getting up on that. It was up right around 100,000 miles. And so I decided that I would take the Cadillac and we would get her something new. And so we went and looked at a Chevrolet Equinox, I believe is what we bought, and or we leased, or was it could have been the Equinox. We went and leased her a Chevrolet Equinox, and I took the a Toyota Avalon and drove it until it got some mileage on it, or I took the Cadillac rather, I'm sorry. And I drove it till it got some mileage on it. And I traded the Cadillac in and bought a 2007 Chevrolet Impala LTZ and drove that car. And it was a good car. There, it had the 3.9 V6 in it, so it had the higher horsepower V6. Loaded car. Liked it pretty well. It was okay, but wasn't anything special. Well, my daughter was graduating from college. My oldest daughter was graduating from college. And we had made a deal with her that if she kept her grades at a certain level and she had gotten some scholarships, as long as she maintained those, when she graduated, we would buy her a car. So she's graduating. We're in the Chevrolet dealer looking at a car for her, found a car that she liked that we could buy. And while we were there, the general manager pulled in his 2009 Chevrolet Impala SS demonstrator. And I heard the engine in that car and said, I got to have that. And I told the salesman, I said, I'm coming back for that car. And a week later, I went back and I bought that car and drove that car for a while. And I loved that car. Man, that car was so much fun. 304 horsepower V8. I loaded up, leather interior, Bose sound. People would literally come to me. I'd be in a hotel parking lot and people knew what that car was. And I'd be loading my luggage up in the car and they would say, would you start this car up? I just want to hear it. And I would start the car and they would stand behind it and listen to the exhaust. I mean, it sounded great and was tons of fun to drive, man. 0 to 60 in about 5.5 seconds. And just really, really enjoyed that car. The only challenge with that car was that it had performance tires on it, Goodyear Eagle LS Plus tires on it. They were rated as an all-season tire, but anything other than very, very light snow, and it was white knuckles in that car. And the reality was it just didn't make a whole lot of sense for me to use as a business car because of, wintertime driving that I had to do. And I was going to Cleveland, Ohio, and, Gary, Indiana, and areas that really got a lot of snow. And I had some white knuckle trips in that car. I knew I needed to do something different. That's when I took the Cadillac CTS because it was all-wheel drive. And we leased for my wife a 2011 Cadillac SRX. And it was the SRX had been redesigned, and it had the 3-liter V6 in it. And it was the first time my wife had been in an SUV, and she was a little apprehensive at first. She didn't know if she wanted to be in that style vehicle. But once we got her in it, the visibility was so much better for her that, we really haven't had anything since then. So I'm going to stop the video here at this point. We're starting to get a little bit long, and that's kind of the stories on some of my later cars. Now, again, there's not going to be quite as much interesting stories about things that happened to the cars, because my cars got a lot more reliable after the 1980s and through the 1990s than they were earlier. So I'll just kind of, again, run through the list real quick, kind of give you my impressions of the vehicles. And we'll probably be wrapping this up with the next one. Again, thanks for watching Talking Vehicles with Joe. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, like, subscribe, share, comment about some of your cars below. And we'll see you next Friday for the next Talking Vehicles with Joe.